So welcome everyone. We are absolutely delighted that you could join us today. For the next 45 minutes, we are going to explore enterprise education, what it can look like across different settings, how it links with the curriculum and the impact it has on those involved. I just want to go over a few of the housekeeping points that you saw on the previous screen, just in case you didn't catch them. So this session's been recorded for public viewing. Please mute your microphone and turn off your camera unless you're going to be speaking. That just helps with the audio quality and it allows everybody else to focus on the presentation. There is a closed captions feature for increased accessibility. And just a last wee point, the Scottish Learning Festival welcomes a diverse range of thought and opinion, and it's important to note that the views and opinions expressed are the presenter's own. So welcome. My name is Julie Degnan. I come from 13 years in the primary classroom, and prior to that I was self-employed for a wee while. I have worked with a number of small business startups as well, so now I get to combine all of that within my role at Scotland's Enterprising Schools. We are also thrilled to be joined in this seminar by some of our enterprising friends. We have got some lovely children and their teacher from Euston Primary School's nursery class in East Lothian. We have also students and staff from Straven Academy in South Lanarkshire, and we'll get to meet them a little bit later on. So Scotland's Enterprising Schools, who are we? We are a government funded project. We have a vision of a flourishing Scotland where every young person throughout their educational journey feels confident in their ability to practice their enterprise skills in order to succeed in learning, life and work. We work with all educators of 3 to 18-year-olds in Scotland to support them to embed enterprise education with confidence and creativity. So if you have any questions during the session, please enter them into the chat. We encourage you as well throughout to continue the conversation online via Twitter, and we'll also use Mentimeter to get that interaction going just now. So if you have your phone handy, I'm sure it's right by your side. It's probably the easiest way to access Mentimeter. However, you can open another browser window if you prefer. You can scan the QR code there, or you can go to www.menti.com. It will ask you to enter a code. It's the 8 digits you can see, 71 85 76 19. And we're just going to start off with a wee game of word association before we go any further. And the question is, when I say enterprise, you see. So you've just been asked to type that in. If you can't access the Mentimeter, feel free to enter into the chat in the meeting. We'll be able to see what you're thinking. I'll give you a couple of minutes. I've already got some coming through, thank you. There's money, a big one in the middle there. We've got opportunity, fun, real world, lots of great things. Starship always comes up, or sometimes car hire comes up as well in that question. Selling for all, great, thank you. Sustainable, interesting, partnerships, lots of things. So the biggest ones in the middle are the most popular at the moment. Business, creativity, innovation, great to see that up there. I'm going to keep that running in the background, so if you're still typing in there, feel free to keep going with that. We can look back at that a wee bit later on. While you're doing that, I'm just going to start off our wee journey. We don't have long, but hopefully, as we work through our session today, the title will begin to make sense. So we've called this session Coffee, Elves and Rock and Roll, That's Enterprise. I'm going to play a wee game with you throughout the session. If you spot the links between what we're saying and the words that appear in the title of the session, please post a relevant emoji into the chat. And if your name pops up first, kudos to you. We are today using the plot from the well-known film and musical School of Rock, and that's just to help us explore enterprise in its wider sense and what it can look like in education. So after being kicked out of his rock band, Dewey Finn becomes a substitute teacher in an elementary school. Having zero experience or qualifications in education, but a passionate interest and a huge talent in music, Dewey tries to turn his class into a rock band, and he embarks on what is essentially an enterprise project. Now, for the purposes of today, we are going to set aside the legal implications of his actions. And we're just going to use this as a light-hearted way to explore enterprise. I'm going to pop back up the Menti to see what we're thinking. So every single thing I can see on there is definitely associated with enterprise, and that is the way that we like to see it. We've got community spirit popping up there, world of work, growth, exciting, sustainable, innovative, all of these things, skills for life and work. I'm glad people are thinking along these lines already. This is exactly what we like to see. Okay. So we're going to go back to the plot here. A few days into his role, the fake Mr. Schneebly discovers a shared passion for music with his students. Now this is key in enterprise. Finding out what really makes your learners tick. We start by finding out what they're interested in, what they care about, what they want to change or improve. You've hooked them right away. And this is where we can begin to explore different motivations for enterprise. So we did see business pop up early on and money and selling, but also other areas such as sustainability or exciting and creativity, that kind of thing can also motivate enterprise activity. And we're really interested in hearing about how you have managed to capitalise on your learners' interests in order to motivate real life action. So as you can see on the slide there, we're asking you, how have you used your learners' passion to spark action? If you head over to Twitter and you tag us at Scott Ent Schools, use the hashtag SLF22 and let us know your thoughts on this. We would love to have an open conversation with you right now, but I am so keen to get on and hear from our young people. So we'll have this conversation over on Twitter in the background. For us, enterprise education is about being enterprising in absolutely everything we do to create enterprising students through having physical space, our classrooms, through having our classrooms being enterprising spaces, enabling enterprising teachers, building in enterprising values. And by enterprising, we mean being resourceful, using your initiative, solving problems, being opportunistic, a whole host of things. And all of these things really add to that enterprising mindset. And it's really a general approach to life. We do want to highlight business startup and self-employment because entrepreneurship and enterprise are widely thought to be major drivers for economic growth, job creation, wider community development. We do want our young people to see it as a possible future pathway. However, enterprise education is also relevant to them right now in their learning. It's relevant in their lives outside of school, as well as in the future as employees. And we're interested to hear how it's currently viewed in your setting. Where do you sit on this spectrum? And what are you doing to make changes if required? So you can pop over to Twitter and have a wee chat about that, if that's relevant to you. We hear a whole host of schools and nurseries, different settings at various points on this spectrum. And sometimes we start with the narrower view to just begin. We need to pick a starting point. Quite often that's where people start, and further down the line then they're moving towards the right hand side there and really exploring what an enterprising mindset really means and how useful it is right now. So enterprise education is essentially project-based learning. It's a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in real world and personally meaningful projects. We then build in an opportunity for them to demonstrate their knowledge and skills by creating a public product or a presentation for a real audience. This style of learning is interdisciplinary by nature. Throughout Dewey's project, we can see that interdisciplinary learning happening. Music history is mapped out in the blackboard there in the background, and they study that alongside music performance. They incorporate technologies. You see the students designing lights for the stage, making costumes. They incorporate literacy and art and design. We can see that where the pupils are making their promotional posters and their tickets and so on. And they also make sure that they build in careers education. They discuss throughout the plot, they discuss jobs. So you've got security staff and stage and costume designers, you've got a lead guitarist, you've got a band manager and so on. And this all goes hand in hand with talk of each individual's skills. So we're really keen to hear how you're making interdisciplinary links within your enterprise activity. And we would love you to engage with that question online. I can see there, Dorothy, thank you. You're a small business. What surprised you the most is just how creative it is. Yeah, you have to wear your creative hat all the time. Even you know, when you're making simple decisions and deciding how to change and pivot, as people have done a lot over the last couple of years, having that wee bit of creativity gets you to open your mind and let you see the possibilities. Thank you, Dorothy. All of the enterprise resources we have available on our website are interdisciplinary. They are fully mapped to the curriculum, along with links made to the Career Education Standard. We also link with Learning for Sustainability, the Global Development Goals. All of these kind of things are all included in our resources. And you can find them online on our website. You can see there, enterprisingschools.scot. We would also like to encourage you to scan the QR code and get your free Enterprise Champion digital badge. We're at the expo today. I don't know if you can see my paper copy of it here. We would encourage you to look at that. All of our enterprising champions are basically people who are committed to embedding enterprise in your setting, wherever you are. You value the opportunities for skills development that it brings, and you're keen to work in partnership to ensure that our young people get their entitlement to learn about enterprise and from enterprise activities. So if that sounds like you, hop on over and claim your free Enterprise Champion digital badge. Thank you again, Dorothy. Yes, decision making is a big one. It's a key skill often overlooked. We tend to call all of these skills the enterprise skills. You will hear them called different things, perhaps transferable skills. Some of them are soft skills. Some people might call them meta skills. Call them what you like. Essentially, they are all of these skills that we want our young people to develop to succeed in their life, their learning and their work. Okay, back to School of Rock. So during one session, we see Dewey assuring the class that rock and roll can help them stand up for themselves. Do you remember the bit where they're all sticking it to the man? So another core outcome of enterprise education is that it can really help participants develop confidence and resilience. And we know it has a positive effect on motivation and engagement. It can also provide a safe space to experience failure and opportunities to learn how to move on from this. As a result from participating in enterprising learning, young people can develop in a whole host of other ways. And here to tell us a wee bit more about that is Morag Waterston, Senior Early Years Practitioner in Yester Primary School's nursery class, along with some very enterprising learners. We have Kate, Ruth, Elsie and Sadie. And I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint so that we can see you. Are you there, Morag?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. We can see your lovely children. Yeah, I can see two of them.
We've got three here. We've got Ruth off today, so we've got Elsie. Do you want to give them a wave, Elsie? And we've got Kate, give them a wave, and Sadie, and myself, Morag Waterston.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to see you. Would you like to tell everyone a little bit about what you've been doing, Morag?
Yep, so it kind of all started at Yester. We kind of hadn't really covered an awful lot on size and measurement. Excuse the school bell there, sorry. So as a team of staff, we were kind of thinking, right, we've not done anything on the trackers. We really need to do something on size and measurement. We didn't kind of want to go down the role of doing the same kind of, you know, the 3 bears, and we were really trying to look at different ways of how to explore it. So as a team, we kind of started putting a couple of little things out in the room and some things outside. And one of the things we had placed in the story corner, so as a provocation, was the Elves and the Shoemaker story. And from that story, the children would ask sort of every day, oh, could we have that one again? It was quite a popular one at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we kind of had a little chat with the children, and it's something that we kind of do about if we're kind of going into a deeper topic is how could we explore it? So as usual, they always come up with lots of different ideas. And at the time, they wanted to have something outside. What did we have?
Elf and the Shoemaker.
Yeah, we had a house, didn't we?
Yeah.
So Kate could remember, because it was a little while ago, so we had to jog our memory on this one. So you could remember what we did and we set up in the house. What did we have?
We had we had the playhouse if it rained, so we didn't have to go inside and stop playing. So we could just do it in the playhouse with all the shoes. And there was a baby house for changing the shoes from the babies. And yeah.
And we had money, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to have the money.
We had 50p, £1 and £2.
Yep, and we talked a lot about the shoe shop, and at the time there wasn't an awful lot of children using the shoe shops because it was still sort of between COVID and not everybody kind of going out to shops and things. So there was as well as us doing size and measurement, it kind of grew arms and legs, and we talked about various things, and obviously the virus came up, and it's just everyday life, and we had to explore with the children. Well, how did the elves? What did they do to support the family, and what did the family do to support the elves? So we talked about what the elves did, and they made some. Can you remember what they made in the house, Elsie? You talked about what did they make? They used the cotton, yeah, and how did they? What did they do with the cotton? Can you remember what they did?
Into shoes.
They made it into shoes, and we had we had to think about some of the things that we put into the Elves in the Shoemaker house. We had can you remember we had a little iron? Yep, we talked about that, ironing all the things out for the elves, and the elves made the shoes, didn't they?
Yeah, and then they made something for the elves, which was some clothes.
That's right.
And a pair of shoes in the hat.
So that the family made the elves some clothes in the end, didn't they? So they had some lovely little outfits. But we also talked, while we were doing this project, we talked a lot about what was around in our area in Gifford, where we are, what sort of shops there was, because as well as exploring about size and measurement, and we had lots of fun measuring our feet every day, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and lots of discussion on who had the biggest feet. Was it the ladies, or was it the children, or was their siblings had smaller feet? And so there was a lot of chat about that, but we talked a lot about what was in our local village. And Sadie, you had a lot to say about that the other day, about the schools and what's around in the village. Can you remember what shops there is? Can you tell everybody? We've got a local co-op, but it's changed its name. And then what else have we got in our? What's our newsagents called? It's Hogs. Hogs. Yes. And then what else do we do at Hogs? Sadie's forgot. But Hogs was selling all different things like sweeties. We had a big chat about that the other day. So it's extended. The creativity has gone quite wild, but we did learn lots about our feet, didn't we, and our sizes.
Yeah.
And we also talked about what our favourite shoes might be and what we liked. Can you talk about that, Kate?
Mine were the Heelys, and they were my favourite shoes.
Yeah, and what about you, Elsie? What did you like?
A flashy, sparkly ones.
Flashy, sparkly ones. And you had some visitors as well, some Japanese visitors.
Japanese socks.
And they brought some Japanese socks, and they were just not like everyday socks, were they? They had bits for all your toes, didn't they? Yeah. So they were a bit different.
Like one big bit for all your little toes, and one that's quite big a bit, like a small bit for that, just that one big toe.
Yeah, so a bit different to our socks, weren't they? And what was your favourite, Sadie?
Ballet shoes.
Our ballet shoes. We talked a lot about all our favourite shoes, and I wonder what the elves' favourite shoes were. Did they have a favourite? Can you remember? Was it their boots?
I think it was a nice cozy sock boots.
I think you're right, Kate. I think it was a nice cozy sock boots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as well as having the Elves in the Shoemaker house, we did have a lot of measurement and size equipment outside, and we had our bricks, and the boys were very much into doing the measurement with the tapes, and every day we would all get measured and sized up. So it really incorporated lovely sort of inside, and then from our brick block corner to outside to using a bigger brick. So that interdisciplinary learning we were able to sort of incorporate in two places. So really from us having just a kind of a storybook, which sort of started the interest, measurement and size was, you know, incorporated in so many different ways. And I think we did move on to doing the Three Bears in the end, because it's always a popular one. But the Elves and the Shoemaker at the time was a very, very, very popular, wasn't it?
Yeah, I loved it because of also the measuring things, and you could also get put on shoes.
You could put on the shoes, yeah. And we also had some tea and coffee and cakes in it, not real ones, just role play, didn't we? Yes, Sadie.
I lost 2 teeth.
You lost 2 teeth. Oh, Sadie's just telling us that she's lost 2 teeth as well.
My goodness me, what wonderful children. I'm loving the sound of the Heelys and the sparkly shoes. This is all fantastic. Morag, if you could sum up just some of the skills that you know, witnessed these children developing. Obviously, I don't know if they came to you being able to be so articulate, or if that's all part of it as well. What else would you say was the sort of impact on them?
I think the whole, obviously they planned exactly what they wanted in the house, and obviously reading the story, they planned what they needed, so they had to collect the resources, and we kind of had things everywhere, so we had to find things. We had to actually ask a couple of parents to bring in, some people had actually measured, you know, like in Clark's you get measuring, you know, the little stands that you put your feet in, so they brought them in for us. We had they brought measuring tapes, so we had to resource a little bit, but our parents were really helpful at the time as well, and brought this in for us, and we had to find the tills and the money, but the children were able to kind of use great imagination. And you know what it's like when you set up this thing, you're doing these things every day, it always goes into something else, and then they're problem solving with each other, and they're, you know, they're communicating really well, and they're able to kind of share ideas, and just build on their confidence skills, because at this age it's all about their sort of core social skills, and build really good relationships. So not only with each other, but with us as well, because we were, as staff, we were in it every day with them too, having to buy the shoes and get our feet measured. So it was really good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you so much. I wish we could talk to you all day. We'll maybe need to come back and do another 45 minutes just with you three. It'd be fantastic. I can see some entrepreneurs of the future, certainly. So thank you very much. If the children want to go and get busy, we would appreciate, Morag, if you can hang around. We'll do a wee question and answer at the session, but thank you very much, children. Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Morag. Bye. I'm going to share my screen. There will be opportunity to ask questions at the end and speak to Morag, but as she said, it's what you're doing all day, every day, and to be able to focus in such an enterprising way and you know, give the leadership of the learning back to the children is what we say is enterprising. So it's a lovely example there, and we have that as a case study on our website if you want to get some more detail. So as we've just seen, the power of enterprise education can really be unleashed if we move beyond a simulated problem or a simulated scenario, and we get our students, our pupils, our young people working directly with aspects in the real world. So if we think back to the film plot, the fake Mr. Schneebly does that by sneaking his class out of school to audition for Battle of the Bands, which we obviously don't condone. However, the sentiment is there. At planning stage, we should really be asking ourselves, how can we connect our enterprise learning to the real world, to the real experiences of our young people? And there are various ways to do this. For example, through developing a young workforce. Our young people are entitled to learn about entrepreneurship and self-employment as possible future pathways. In addition, we've got the Young Person's Guarantee. It maps out that commitment to match every 16 to 24-year-old in Scotland to an opportunity, and that can now include an enterprise opportunity. So it'd be really interesting to hear how that's happening in your setting. Please share your stories on Twitter and tag us at Scott End Schools. Now, one school who have managed to do this so well over the past couple of years is Straven Academy. We awarded them the title of Scotland's most enterprising school this year. All of their enterprise activity is interdisciplinary, with developing the young workforce being a core focus. So we would like to welcome Liz Barr, Deputy Head Teacher, Ian Henderson, Faculty Head of Technologies, and students Corey, who's in S4, and Carter, who is in S6. And I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see them. Corey, are you there? Would you like to share your story with us first of all?
Hi.
Hi there.
Can you hear me all
We
right?
can hear you, we can see you. We're going to call you Mr. Henderson because that's what's popping up, but we think you're better suited to Corey. Off you go.
Thank you. So about 9 months ago, our school bought a barista machine, and they created this elective to give students an opportunity to be trained on it. And me and only about 15 other students, this was S2, we were picked. Well, we won. We did it, and it was great. We were trained on the machine. I really enjoyed it, and only about 2 weeks after that, me and about 3 other S2s were picked to make coffees for people that were coming in for head teacher position interviews. And we were trained just a little bit extra to make sure that we were ready for this. So then we were a bit more experienced than all the others. So that means we were able to help when we were back at the elective. Sorry. So we also had to, as being like the first group on the machine, we had to overcome quite a few challenges. We had to make a logo for the company. We had to make posters to go around the school, and menus, and we had to deal with a very temperamental card machine. The teachers that trained us, they were trained by the local company Fower, they were the ones who provided us with our own school blend of beans, and they passed their training down to us. And it went so well. It was great. I enjoyed it so much, and we were then asked to do more things involving the machine. So we did a study cafe, a reading cafe, and at some points it got so busy, but we managed to just breathe and get through it, just do a little bit at a time. One point we had the whole machine, we had people just crowding around it, and they were like, "Where's my coffee?" It's like, "We've ran out of milk," and it got quite stressful, but we managed to get through it. And I developed quite a few skills from doing this, involving like confidence. I was quite a social person before this, but I got more confident and comfortable in social situations now, talking to people I've never met before and talking to them like they're my friends and I've known them for a long time. So that was amazing. It was such a great experience. My organization skills got really much better, much improved, because there's a table where we keep all of our milk and any like syrups and everything that we add into the coffee, and at some points it would just get so busy, like so untidy, and it was just so messy. So we take any time that was like left, that was like, we don't have any customers, so right now we'll use this time to tidy up. So with those skills, I managed to get myself a part-time job at a cafe, and I'm now a barista and a waitress at a local cafe down in our like common area in the town. And it's the skills, the confidence. I can now talk to people that I would not have been able to do this before. Just like these people never met before come into the shop, and I can talk to them. And at a few points I've had people being difficult and complaining and being all like, "I asked for this, no you didn't." So you have to deal with those tough situations. And I also managed to, like, the organizational skills helps even just out of work, out of school, because my room now isn't as messy as it used to be. Because I'm like, oh well, I don't have any homework, I might as well use this time and tidy my room.
I love that. The other day when I asked you how you've managed to apply these skills to your life now, and you said that about keeping your room tidy, and I thought, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So a lot of parents and carers can be on board with this type of learning. Thank you, Corey. We could talk to you as well for a full 45 minutes. I'm just sorry we don't have a lot of time to hear from you, but
okay.
so impressive that you've managed to do this, and I think probably your crowd control skills have improved as well. I was particularly impressed by you when I visited your school and you served me a coffee, which is available on the school website. Am I correct? That people can buy the blend? Yes. I think I'm going to say, but I'm not 100% sure. You might be the only school in Scotland that has their own school blend of coffee. I can stand corrected if I need to be, but I ordered a mocha from you, and I'm not sure if you knew what a mocha was, but you looked at Mr. Henderson and he looked back,
Yeah,
and a wee bit of silent communication went on, and you said, sure, no problem, and you hopped away and brought me back a mocha. So I don't know if you had to Google it at the time, but your customer service was impeccable. So thank you so much for talking to us today, and good luck in your job as well as your studies. And we're going to come to Carter next, because you've had a slightly different enterprising experience. Carter, would you like to tell us about your experience?
Yeah, so we were a wee bit different to the Bristol machine. We were more out of school, working in a different environment completely. So back in last year, when I just went into S5, the school got into partnership with a company in Cambuslang called Martech. So they specialise in fabricating of doors, structures, windows, really, and all the metalwork you see around the world comes from a workshop like this. So they gave us the skills of welding. We done powder coating, so preparing the metal to last in the environments such as like the rain, the thunderstorms, everything like that. Anything the world can really throw at it, they were giving them, showing us how to do it. So when we got given the opportunity, we knew we had to do something special with it. So that's when we decided that we'd go and we'd try to find a charity or somebody else that we could help other than ourselves or maybe the year below us or things like that. But we wanted to go and help the environment kind of outside, like the local surroundings and every day in the community. So that's when we decided that we'd go and we'd talk to St Andrew's Hospice and Kilbride Hospice. And this is when the whole class came together and we all started brainstorming what we could do to make this place better, make the hospices kind of more friendly for the people staying in them and the patients and everything like that. Just trying to brighten up a bit, change their day-to-day viewings and what they can see. But none of us really knew what hospice really was. We all kind of had like our own rough ideas. I don't think anybody really understood like how much actually goes on in hospice, how like reliant they are on funds and how much it can help people staying inside them. So we ended up with a Zoom call and they took us a tour around the hospice and showed us their cafeterias, their activities, their just really everything they like to do to keep all the patients inside and keep them all happy and enjoying it, because they like to help the older community when they're in their last stages. If say they've got a harsh say they've been caught with a kind of illness or anything like that and they're quite well, they're coming to the end. The hospice likes to keep them and their families really close together and let them be comfortable and treat them as well as they can. So we all decided that we'd like to kind of brighten up their garden and make the outside experience a lot brighter for them. So when they go out of the hospice, they can feel like they're outside in the world again and they're just enjoying life. So that's when we started talking to the patients as well and the people who run the hospice and seeing what they really needed for it. So we ended up deciding that we were going to make benches for each hospice so that the patients could go outside, and if they weren't able to walk around or they weren't able to stay on their feet all day and they had short breath and things like that, they could just take a rest and they could enjoy the sights. So that's what we got stuck on, and we knew exactly what we had to do from there on. So we went into Martech in Cambuslang and we done 2 full days. There was a group of 20 of us, 18 to 20 of us. We done 2 full days work. So we got our own breaks like the workers did. We got our own lunch times and really seen what it was like to work outside of school. And you've got deadlines and you've got things that has to be done. So we're really inspired to actually work and do it for them. So we knew we had to make them proud. So the group of us, we split into 3 and we all, the first half day, we got put into groups of 2s with 1 worker. So it was like near enough 1-to-1. So we knew exactly how we did it. If we had any questions, they'd answer. We get all the steps, all the kind of tips and tricks and things like that. What could really improve just our form, just to make these benches as sturdy and just like them to make them last. So that's when we decided that we were going to really push this, because some of us became really good welders and some of them were a wee bit dodgy, but they were getting there in the end. So we knew that we'd have it in us and we could actually do it all ourselves. We didn't really need that much help. So we got to it. I think it was the first day we started making our structures, designing the benches, decided what we wanted them to look like. We don't want any plaques or anything on them. And that's what we decided, that we'd have a nice plaque right in the middle that says, and to help our friends, was from Straven Academy. So yeah, we made them, and we got given the opportunity to go to the hospices, and we got to put them down and we got to talk to the people and see what their opinions on them were, and see if they how it like helped their day-to-day life.
And did you get good feedback from them, Carter?
Yeah, they loved it. I think just getting to see something different would really inspire them as well.
Yeah, I love this story, because as well as being learning the technical welding skills, you're working on your work experience skills as well, but also you were always thinking about other people, and I think that's what your school do so well with all of their enterprise activities, is think about other people and how you can improve their life. So we really appreciate you sharing your experience with us. Again, I'm so sorry I have to cut you off, because I would love to hear more about this, but we do have your school's case study on our website if anyone wants to read more, and I know you're always happy to share the story further. So thank you so much. Good luck to you in your final year, and any choices that you're making for moving on afterwards. We'll follow your story with interest. I think our future is in safe hands. We can all be confident that we've got all these young enterprising people that will be getting ready for the future. So thank you. You're both so eloquent as well at sharing your stories, and it's great to hear, very inspiring. So that really brings us to the end of the plotline. And even though the band don't win first place, they perform an encore in Battle of the Bands. They win over the audience, they win over their parents, and they win over the head teacher at the end, who presumably then drop any criminal charges against Dewey, because we see him teaching his own after-school programme during the end credits. It's a real feel-good movie ending, and we can see the confidence and the joy in the faces of the kids, the teachers and their parents. I wanted to speak to you, Liz, next and see from your experience, would you say that that is a realistic outcome of enterprise activity?
Hi Julie, hello everybody who's on this call. It is absolutely realistic. I mean, and I think you can see that in the children who've spoken to you today. They are, our two children here are only two examples of the number of young people who've benefited from all the activity we've done, not only just over the last year, but this is a culmination of years and years of work. It's just last year was exceptional in terms of what we were able to achieve, but the confidence speaks for itself. They've talked about problem-solving skills, they've talked about organisational skills, and the softer skills that we take as adults, we take for granted in our professional life, they're learning in real time. Corey having to cope with the setbacks of running out of milk or crowded, whatever the examples are. And Carter spoke to me earlier about the fact that they had ideas that they put forward, and then they had to listen to others, and they had to reflect on what other people were suggesting and make changes. And these are all excellent skills that we take for granted, and young people have to learn, and they're learning it at a young age. And Corey was only S3 when she started the process, and Carter was in S5, so very young to be doing this. What they now do is they show and demonstrate those skills in everything they do. So they talk about them now. They talk about career plans that perhaps they didn't before. And not just those two children, but lots of our children, and that's where we're seeing a huge difference in our school. So if you ask them to write a CV, a personal statement, whatever it might be an application for, they talk about skills, and they accept that they're on a journey of developing those skills, and at different rates, and different skills come easily to them, others they have to work harder at. And even from the most shy, introverted young person, we're beginning to see a change. I mean, I could pick out a couple I think are exemplary. I've got a girl this year who's running an enterprising basically she is running the enterprise class, I think, and she has badgered staff into giving her money, their company money, to buy shares in their company, to give them money to start off. So it's going to be a real enterprise. The same group last year raised over £1,000 from their one class activity, and I fully expect that will be repeated this year. It's just how they present themselves, the rapport they have with staff in the corridors, the way they speak to staff. You know, they understand to get what they want, they have to be polite, they have to approach it in the right way, but they have to be confident. And all of that comes through day to day. You see a smile on children's faces. So on a Wednesday morning, our S3 start with a double period that is very much enterprising in 10 different classes across the school. Attendance has improved because they want to be here. It's something quite different from sitting down learning, something that may well have to be replicated in an exam. This is about real life, about working, and we're making as many connections as we can to people out with our school. And it's actually not just about children. What do we see as staff or as a school as being the benefits? We, at the moment, we see an increase in uptake in certain subjects. So subjects where teachers have bought into enterprising activity, making it real life contexts, bringing in speakers, going on visits. We see uptake of those subjects, you know, slowly increasing, and that is absolutely amazing. We've introduced some new courses, skills for work type of courses, which is embed those skills, but we're also able to offer additional qualifications within that. So while Corrie is barista trained, she's not yet barista qualified. So this year, we will intend to have a significant number of young people who are barista qualified. And we can only imagine that when they go looking for part-time employment, employers will go, oh, top of the list for you. Let's look at you. Let's have an interview because you've already got that training. It's amazing. And it's not just barista. It's a lot of stuff in STEM, a lot of other stuff through business and through John Muir Awards, lots of wonderful activities.
Yeah.
More and more teachers within this school are picking up on what Ian Henderson have done. Jordan Norrie from last year, who worked very closely with Ian and I. Teachers want to be part of this because they see not only the fun, they see the benefits, and actually they see it can work. We talk about a can-do attitude with children. Some staff don't present initially with a can-do attitude. I actually believe that we are changing the culture within the school, and other members of staff are learning from the key people from last year, and they're now thinking, well, actually, if we go and talk about this, somebody will find us the time, somebody will help us with funding, if that's what it takes, and there'll be no barriers. And that, for me, as a leader, is incredibly important. No barriers to this. There's no barriers to what children can achieve and no barriers to what staff can achieve. And we have to think big, and we have to be creative, and we have to say that we can do anything, and we can cope with the setbacks. We can cope with being told, no, not this way, do another way, consider another way, and we can do all of that.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank
not
you,
just-
Liz. I'm going to have to interrupt because I'm so aware of time. It's almost as if we rehearsed that wonderful summary that you've just provided us, and I think that's the key. There's no limits, and I think the resilience of your school has really shone through in the last couple of years. And thank you for also noticing that difference in staff as well as young people, because that's really important to us. I'm inspired by your story. I hope everyone else on the call has been inspired to have a go at Enterprise. We've run out of time for questions and answers, but certainly that can continue online because I know everyone involved today is very, very supportive of being able to engage and help people out in future. Thank you to all of our guests, Morag, Kate, Elsie, Sadie from yesterday primary nursery class, Liz, Ian, I don't think we even got to see Ian there, Corrie and Carter from Straven, and just to say to everybody else, please continue the conversation online. Hi Ian, give us a wave.
Hi.
I know you've been very much involved at Straven and a great driving force in there with Liz. So thank you to everyone. Sorry we don't have time to take live questions, but we're happy to engage online afterwards. And we won't keep you from your lunch. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.